Hello and welcome guys to a new episode on SportPredictorFanatic. We're gonna predict some Olympic Games matches that are gonna be played today. I think there are 15 today and 17 tomorrow. I'm gonna try and do the 17 of tomorrow, but I don't think I will make it, but I will try. But first, these 15 of today. I'm gonna be putting a bet on it. You of course don't have to. Yesterday I think I did pretty well with my tennis bets. If you haven't seen the video, watch it and then review what the results were. I think I did pretty well. I didn't make any money though because of one retirement match, but that's it. That's just how it works sometimes. But we're going to start off with Darderi against Tommy Paul. Tommy Paul has actually had an alright season this year. He performed pretty consistent on all surfaces and managed to maintain his top 20 status. He has made his Olympic debut in Tokyo 3 years ago, but he lost in the first round there against Karatsev. Before 2024, his opponent Darderi was closer to the number 200 spot than the number 1 spot. But this year, everything changed. He played great, good results, and with that has now earned a spot in the Italy Olympic team. It is actually an added bonus for him that the Olympics are on clay, as it is his favorite underground. Darderi has actually got 39 wins on the main tour, and 37 of those wins actually came on clay. But Tommy Paul hasn't played a match since Wimbledon. Darderi has just played a few days ago in Umag. I think this match could go either way. But I think actually the skill of Darderi on clay will actually get the win here. The odd for that actually is 2.52. Then the next matchup is Draper against Kei Nishikori. Draper hasn't played a match since his disappointment loss at Wimbledon a month ago. Despite the good preparation on grass, he wasn't able to do it. But I think also this break might help him, as when Jack Draper is fit, he is mentally there. He just plays so well. He has never been at the Olympics, so it will be quite exciting for him. While Kei Nishikori, his opponent, has had some Olympic experience. In his home country 3 years ago in Tokyo, he lost the quarterfinals against Djokovic. He came this far though, even though his fitness was already on the decline back then. But since then his fitness has only gone worse and worse and worse. This year he only played 4 matches and he lost 3 of those matches. He had to pull out of tournaments because he felt like his body wasn't ready for it. But a stat to pull confidence from is that in the last 3 Olympics that he has been in, he at least reached the quarters, and in 2016 in Rio, he even got a bronze medal. But I think with that said, as long as Draper is just playing up to par, I think he's just going to win. The odd for that is 1.27. The next match is Auger Aliassime against Giron. Auger Aliassime was recovering from a year-long struggle with injury and just confidence issues. A couple of months ago, he played better and better until he hit another roadblock. He was forced to retire from a match against Cooper in Halle, and later at Wimbledon, he squandered his 2 sets lead against Kokkinakis, and that was a massive blow to his confidence. For him, clay is the best service this season, so we will be glad to be back on it. But Auger has a little bit the habit of not showing up at the big moments or big stages. He showed it as well in the Olympics in 2021, where he lost in the first round against big underdog Purcell. Giron, on the one hand, experienced one of the best weeks just before Wimbledon, winning his first ATP tournament in his home country at Newport. This tournament was on grass, but I think this momentum and confidence will definitely help him. On clay, Giron struggles though this season with only 3 wins out of and 7 losses. And if we only count European clay, his record is 1 win and 6 losses. Their head-to-head is 3-1 in favor of Felix Auger-Aliassime, and it's 1-0 on clay for him as well. And I actually think Auger-Aliassime is going to win as long as he doesn't crumble under the pressure. The odds for that actually is 1.29. Then we have Djokovic against Abden. Of course, from Djokovic, we know winning a gold medal is definitely in his cards. He demonstrated the importance of winning that medal in 2016 when he lost in the first round against Del Potro and had literally tears in his eyes. He also said for him this is the biggest goal this year, especially because this is the thing missing in his career for now. Djokovic actually didn't have the best year this year, not winning a tournament yet and only having one championship match, which was of course at Wimbledon. This was a huge W though, because this was actually his first tournament after his knee surgery, so we'll put some confidence out of that. And I think the joy that Abden might have had by reaching the Olympic singles draw soon went away when he saw he was up against Djokovic. Abden has actually joked about it on social media as if as he wins this, he is up against probably Nadal, of course the greatest ever at this venue, because this is of course played at the Roland Garros venue. But Abden hasn't played a singles match since 2022 and is mainly here basically to play doubles. I expect Djokovic to win this with ease. The odd for that is actually 1.10, which is really low. Then we have Griekspoor against Norrie. Griekspoor has played pretty good this year, apart from the major tournaments where he almost every time had early exits. This is going to be his first ever Olympics. And I think it's been a quite frustrating year for Griekspoor, who keeps losing to underdogs and keeps drawing a lot of top 20 players in the early rounds. But he does play his best tennis against those kind of players, but he just isn't winning them. He played one clay tournament leading up to the Olympics, but got another loss to another underdog in Skatov. Even with those struggles, he still maintained his top 30 spot. His opponent, Norrie, had some great tennis years with COVID, but since 2023, he has fallen a bit and hasn't been able to turn it around this year either. And with that, I think he's on the edge of falling out of the top 50. In early years, in his younger years, many bridge people, he didn't really focus on clay, but the last few years he has shown he is capable of doing that. And most of his wins this year actually came on clay, although his record on clay this year is 8-8. I think with the inconsistency of Griekspoor, it's really hard to say, but I think he's the overall better player and even a little bit more, even just a little bit more in form than Norrie. So with that, I think Griekspoor is going to win with an odd of 1.91. Okay, and the next matchup is Habib against Alcaraz. Alcaraz had some issues with his right arm this year, and because of that hasn't always been able to perform. But when he's fit, he's definitely one of the best of the world, if not the best in the world. He has won the last two Grand Slams with Wimbledon and Roland Garros and Wimbledon. In 2021, Alcaraz was literally just outside of the top 100 and not on an Olympic team at Tokyo. But of course, he couldn't be left out this year as he's the main man for Spain this year. The fact that he won Roland Garros just a month ago or a couple of months ago will definitely help with his confidence as he's playing on the same venue basically. And his opponent Habib, of course, not a name where you expect him to really challenge him. But he has done well in preparation, to be quite honest. He reached the semis, challenged the tournament, and became second in an ITF tournament on clay, which is pretty unknown ground for him. He doesn't play that much on clay. But even with this, Alcaraz easy win, 1.01 odd here as well, just like Djokovic. The next match is Navone against Borges. This year is almost perfect for Navone. And like at the perfect moment, he climbed 100 places this year and with that made his top 30 debut. Of course, he's now just outside with 36. But yeah, he had a great South American clay swing followed by some good performance in the following months. With that, he's now actually able to make his Olympic debut and is on his preferred surface as well, which is of course clay. In recent weeks, his performance doesn't seem to be good, but that can be explained as he had some tournaments on grass where he didn't do well, and then at start he lost to Nadal, but he played awesome, like he definitely played awesome. And then Umar, just like the week before this, well, basically this week, he lost in the first round, but maybe his mind was already on the Olympic Games, I don't know. But at Roland Garros this year, Navona lost in the second round against Matja in a 5-setter. Borges, long-awaited breakthrough moment, finally came last week when he won his first ATP tournament in Bastad. He did so by beating Nadal in the freaking final, which makes it even more impressive. Borges, besides this, had done pretty well on clay, winning 14 matches and just losing 6. However, earlier this year at Roland Garros in the first round, he lost to also Matja, but he did lose in straight sets. I think this match is really close, but yeah, with like Borges is a little bit more informed, but Navona is the overall better player on clay, I think. But I think Borges with his form will actually get the win here. The odd for that is 1.9. And then the next matchup is Bergs against Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas has already been at the Olympics in 2021 in Tokyo, sorry. Oh yeah, he had basically in 2021 he had a really good year, but couldn't really show this at the Olympics. But I think that is also because there are unknown playing condition, unknown lack of experience in these kind of environments. This could actually be the opportunity for him if it wasn't for his lack of confidence and form at the moment. But I think he can draw some confidence out of the fact that it is on Parisian clay, as he is very known with it and already became second at Roland Garros and reaching the quarterfinals just like a few months ago here. For Bergs, on the other hand, is not the ideal time to play at the Olympics, as his fitness issues that he's had throughout the years has come back for the first time really this year. Basically, in the periods where Bergs was fit, he was able to play great tennis with winning sets against, well, Tsitsipas, Nadal, Dimitrov, to just name a few. And also one thing he can draw some confidence from is the fact that a month ago at Roland Garros, where he won 5 matches, including qualifiers, so he reached the 3rd round. Tsitsipas leads this head-to-head with 2-0, with both wins being on hardcourt, to be fair. I think the fact that this matchup is going to be at clay, I think it will only help Tsitsipas more. So I think Tsitsipas is going to win. The odd for that is 1.15. The next matchup is Bublik against Taylor Fritz. Although the Olympic Games on clay might not be ideal for Taylor Fritz, he is currently having the best season of his career with 30 wins in 90 matches on clay. Here at Roland Garros, he reached the round of 16, which was pretty good for him. Fritz is also in form at the moment, so the confidence will be definitely there. He didn't lose before the quarterfinal in the last 3 tournaments he was in, and even won one of those tournaments where he didn't drop a set all week. Fritz could have actually played at the Olympic Games in 2021 in Tokyo, but chose not to play and go for a lower tier ATP tournaments, which worked out really well. He got massive points there for him and his ranking. Bublik was someone who was in Tokyo, but he lost in the first round to Medvedev. And once again, he is against someone in the top 20 and is on his least preferred surface as well in clay. Bublik has actually won only 5 matches on clay this season, and he lost 7 out of the 10 matches he's ever played against top 20 players on clay. Bublik does actually lead their head-to-head with 3 wins and 2 losses. But I think the recent success of Fritz on clay will give him the win. And the actually odd for that is 1.28. Then the next matchup is Etchargui against Evans. Evans is having one of the worst seasons in his career. His performance doesn't really resemble his ranking with 59 at the moment. He's only won 8 out of the 26 matches this year, and 4 of those wins were actually at the Challenger level, so only 4 in the ATP tournaments levels. Evans next week actually has a tournament to defend in Washington, but because he will not be there because he is here, he will have some major drop in points and will definitely fall out of the top 60. But it is understandable that he chose being here, as it is his first time at Olympic Games. Major experience, of course. I mean, who doesn't want to be there? Etchargui on the other hand got an automatic qualification for Olympic Games by winning the African Games earlier this year in March. This will actually be his biggest tournament to date, as he's never been at a Grand Slam, not even at qualifying. He's just never been there. Etchargui normally plays really well on clay, but in the lower tour levels. But this year he's actually failed to do so. He's only won 3 out of the 10 matches on clay. He's only won this year. I think even like with the bad form of Evans this year, I think he's still going to win. The odd for that is 1.36. Then the next match is actually Haase against Öffner. Öffner has been presented with a big opportunity, as in 2021 he wasn't even close to making the Olympics. But unfortunately for him, he hasn't been the best physically in the last few weeks. He felt really fatigued when the grass season started, and due to this he hasn't played much, only one match I think, which he lost against Neymar just a few days ago. Last year Öffner was really great on grass, but this year, on clay, but this year isn't as good, with a record of 7 wins and 13 losses on clay this season. But he's up against Robin Haase, and he's actually mainly here for the doubles, and actually was not scheduled to be here at in singles draw. But with the withdrawal of Holger Rune, Haase is in. But I mean, he hasn't really played singles in recent years. This year he's only played 2 matches where he won 1 and lost 1, and they were both at the tournament in Rosmalen in the Netherlands, where they were both qualifying matches. Öffner leads the head-to-head with 1 win and 0 losses. And I think with Haase not playing singles normally, and even Öffner in a bad form should just be able to win this with an odd of 1.1. Perfect. But yeah, the next matchup is Matcha against Zhang. Matcha surprisingly already has some Olympic experience. I actually didn't expect that because he's pretty young, but he was there in Tokyo 2021, where he actually surprisingly won the first round, but then lost in the second round against then number 13 out of the world, Diego Schwartzman. At this moment, Matcha was actually out of the top 100. Matcha has improved a lot since then, and this year as well. This year he was really good on clay, reaching his first ATP final at Geneva and reaching the 3rd round at the Roland Garros, his best ever Grand Slam. Unfortunately for him, he has had a slight dip in form recently, as in the last 40 days he's lost 2 times in the first round, 1 time at Halle and 1 time like this week at Jumach. And that was actually only the 2nd and the 3rd time this has happened this season. His opponent Zhang doesn't yet have any experience at the Olympics. Zhang pretty much had a slow start this year, but he picked up his form on clay. At Roland Garros, he's also reached the third round. Matcha actually leads their head-to-head with 1-0, but I think both players are capable of beating each other, as they can basically both play some great tennis, but I also can have some off days. But yeah, I think Matcha is going to win this one. The odds for that is 1.9. Then the next matchup is Eubanks against Hassan. Eubanks has a good preparation in the last few weeks for the Olympic Games. He reached the quarters in Halle and the semis in Newport last week. However, these results were basically just damage control for him, just dropping points. And with he's dropped 70 places, I think, in the ranking this year, and with that actually he has become 105th, so outside of the top 100. Even with his slightly good form at the moment, he will be disappointed that the Olympic Games are played on clay. He has played 6 matches on clay and he lost all of them this season. His overall record on clay is 6 wins and out of 17 matches, so he's lost 11. That is in contrast to his opponent Hassan, who has won 40 matches on clay this season, which is actually an underperformance for him, as he usually gets more wins on this surface. But his form currently is pretty concerning, as he lost in the first round at the Amersfoort Challenger and at the German Bundesliga just a few days ago. I think if it was on any other surface, I would have given the easy W to Eubanks, but since it is on clay, Hassan really has a chance here, but I still think Eubanks will get the win. The odds for that is actually 2.02, so 2.02. Then next matchup is Hijikata against Medvedev. Yeah, I think Medvedev is actually the player in the top 5 of the world who is the least happy with the Olympics being on clay. Of course, it's a surface he has spoken about, he dislikes. Out of top 5, he is also the worst at Roland Garros from the top 5, where he lost in the round of 16 against Alex de Minaur, where he was struggling with blisters on his foot. At the previous Olympic, Medvedev had a great chance to win the gold medal, as he has already won the ATP of Tokyo, and just a few months later he won the US Open, so he was in good form. But he actually lost against underdog Pablo Carreño Busta in the quarterfinals there. Medvedev has completed in 4 clay tournaments this season, with quarterfinal being his best outcome. Hijikata, on the other hand, has had a bad season after a successful 2023 season. This year he has more losses than wins, which is pretty concerning. Also, clay by far his least preferred underground, and has only won 1 match on the surface since 2023. So in 2 years he's only won 1 match on clay. Also, he's never defeated a top 10 player, having encountered them 6 times. I think with that, Medvedev leads their head-to-head 1-0, and with that, he's just going to win this match. And the odds for that is actually really low, of course, 1.05. And the last match that will be played of the ATP singles matches at the Olympic Games will be Wawrinka against Kotov. Wawrinka will be happy to be here at the Olympic Games for Switzerland one final time. But I think he will be pretty unhappy with his draw here at the Roland Garros venue, as just a couple of months ago he was also against Kotov in the second round at Roland Garros, where he lost in 4 sets. Wawrinka has not been able to stay consistent and just struggles throughout the whole season. He's only won 5 out of the 70 matches he has played this year, and has actually with that fallen out of the top 100. Wawrinka has got Olympic experience. He is there from 2008 in Beijing, where he also grabbed some gold, but that was in doubles with Federer. But in singles he's never really done anything. Kotov's record this season is 15 of 15. On clay, though, he excelled with a record of 11 wins and 19 out of 19 matches. Kotov isn't known as one of the fittest players on the tour, but a player who literally gives it all until like his last drop of energy, which is like nobody basically beats him easily. He's also pretty much proved that here at Roland Garros that he plays until the last drop of energy, as he won the first match in the first round in the 5-setter against Norrie, and then in the 4-setter, of course, against Wawrinka. And with that, actually, their head-to-head is 1-0 in favor of Kotov. But I think if Wawrinka wants to win, he has to do it in 2 sets, as Kotov has shown he's the more fit player. The more longer-lasting player. But I think Wawrinka will actually win this one in 2 sets, and the odd for him winning is actually 2.42. And with that, we have concluded the first day of the Olympics for tennis matches. There are also played some women's matches today, some doubles matches, and some other doubles matches for women. I think it's going to be fun today, but I'm going to leave it there for now. I want to thank you all for watching. Please have a good day, and I will see you.